episodes have been dense lately.
I know.
Yeah, we need to bring some aliveness back.
I know. It's more so just in the ones we recorded, because the one that we're dropping this week is actually
chaos.
Pure chaos.
It's literally chaos.
No.
in a good way.
In a good way. Okay. All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Humanhood series, brought to you by yours truly, Melanie Peralta and
Casey Riley.
The series that is devoted to humanizing your human experience and making personal development more personal. I am excited to dive into today's topic because this is something that so many people go through. This is a very human experience, and I'm kind of being faced with it myself right now, and I've been faced with it many times in my life. And it is the point in your journey or in your life when you need to make some uncomfortable, humbling, sacrificial shifts in your reality, in your day-to-day life, when you need to pivot, and a purposeful pivot for the bigger picture. And sometimes you get into a season of your world where your situation, your circumstances, whatever's going on in your reality is requiring you to really make some big changes. And sometimes those changes can be a hit to the ego. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they could feel like sacrifices that you really don't want to make in the moment, but they can be things that really do serve you in the long run and serve a bigger picture. Even something as simple as like choosing to do a detox, and you can't eat what you want to eat for as long as you want to eat it and do all those things, but you're doing it for a bigger purpose. Yeah. That's like on a micro scale, right? Like the little detox of where you can't drink or eat sugar or eat dairy or whatever for 30 days. Like those are like the simpler sacrifices. But today we want to dive into the ones that are the big ones. I've seen people in their journey, I've seen mothers in their journey get to a point where the sacrifice that they have to make is going to the dad and saying, hey, I need you to keep the kids for a little while because I have to go and do this, or sacrifices in career. And like, even when you have a baby or something and you need to leave a certain job, or if you become a single mother and you need to move in with your family for a little while, whatever the shift is, whatever the pivot is, whatever the necessary transition is, we're going to speak to those today, because personally, I'm being faced with choices of transitions that I could be making. And if you listen to one of the recent episodes of me just talking about that I'm on a health journey, I've come into a really beautiful blessing of being able to receive a certain type of treatment for free, a very costly treatment for as consistent as I would need it, but it's not local. It's 2 hours away. And the frequency that I would need this treatment would make more sense for me to like move there for a little while, even if it was just a month, or just really change up my weekly life and drive there every single week and stay for a few days to get this treatment. I feel so uncomfortable because I'm like, my mind's like, well, what about my gym routine? Yeah. And then when I go down there, I would be staying with family or friends. And then I'm like constantly staying at other people's homes. And that's not always super comfortable. Or even though I would love to spend time with the people that I'm staying with, doing that for a really long time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what are the key factors that come into play? What are the things to consider when we're in these situations when an uncomfortable, humbling transition or a purposeful pivot needs to happen? What are the things that come into factor? For me, the thing that's coming into factor the most is the long-term outcome. Like the present sacrifices or the present changes or the present shifts that I would have to make right now, it is dealing with that and the discomfort or the change or whatever else it comes with worth the bigger picture outcome? Mm-hmm. I'd say so. I mean, who knows if this treatment is going to be the, end all be all, but it's only going to benefit me. Mm-hmm. It's not going to harm me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that you have had to make some pivots and shifts and changes in your life as well, like those big monumental moments, even when you left the law firm. I know that because even when you are in a marriage and somebody chooses to leave a career, mm-hmm. then you have to think about finances. And then now it's like, now the financial responsibility is on one person, mm-hmm. or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just so many things to take into consideration.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit it on the head right there, which is this temporary pivot worth the long-term goal, which you're trying to do? And most times it is.
Yeah.
Because I always think about it. I remember I went to camp when I was younger. I was
band camp?
No, not one time at band camp. I went to camp when I was younger, and I remember being so scared because I had never left like the state without my parents before. And I was
you left the state?
Yes, I was flying on a plane by myself. I was 12 years old with my best friend, and I was so scared to do it. And my sister, I remember she told me, she goes, it's 30 days out of your entire life. Mm. You can do anything for 30 days, even if you don't like it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, that's true. So buck teeth Casey gets on the plane and goes to camp. But that's always stuck with me. I can literally do anything for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What I don't want to do is live in pain. What I don't want to do is live in fear. What I don't want to do is live with these uncomfortable feelings and sensations for a long period of time.
And also the what ifs.
Yeah.
If you don't do the thing.
Right. The what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
In your situation, I would absolutely go. You know how many times I have flown to other states, have gone to treatments to do things to help my horrible concussion that I sustained.
Yeah.
And it was not even a question for me.
Yeah.
These treatments were not covered by insurance. They were thousands of dollars. I had to fly across the country in peak moment of COVID when no one knew what was going on. And I was just like, yep, I'm going, boom, charge it, I'm off. Because I want to feel better.
Yeah.
And I feel certain and comfortable about what I'm choosing to do. And it was just a no-brainer. I just went. And that week was definitely a pivotal moment in my life. And it was a week I never regretted. I was never like, I shouldn't have left that week. No, it was just a part of my journey.
Right. Right.
You know?
I guess the thing that's coming up for me as you're sharing that, because I haven't I've made the decision that I'm going to do my best to figure the situation out so that I can make it happen.
Yeah.
I haven't decided what that's going to look like yet. And how I'm going to do it.
Yes. So you did make the decision to do it. It's just how it's going to happen.
Yeah. So far in my gut, I'm like, I need to do this. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed with this opportunity and this gifted, life is giving me the resources that I need. So I need to maximize on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that looks like yet. And the thing that's coming up for me, and even listening to everything that you were saying, was circumstances. Mm-hmm. Everybody has different circumstances when it comes to these changes and these pivots and these transitions and having to shift your reality around, even if it is just for a little while. Everybody's circumstances are different. Yeah. And I do want to speak to that because I'm sure there's people listening that they're like, oh, well, I would love to go and make this change, but right now I am in school and I've got a full-time job and I'm a single mom and, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's circumstances look different. Mm-hmm. And I've been feeling into that, because I have Kai and he's going to be starting school soon. So I'm wanting to try to get this done as soon as possible so it doesn't drag out into when he's in his school. And there's just all these different factors. Yeah. And how much of this is going to require, after I did the treatment yesterday, I was exhausted. So tired. Did you experience that?
Wait, what treatment did you do? Oh, you went down to Tucson to do the chamber. Oh, no, I wasn't tired at all.
I
loved that because I felt really energized.
Really?
But maybe it was like the driving and the heat and just the whole thing of all of it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's possible. But I just don't know, like, what it's gonna all entail. So even just trying to think about planning all these things and my work and me showing up for clients and all of this different stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I was telling you before we started filming, like there's sometimes where I'm like, I just want to stop everything I'm doing and I just want to like get a job at a flower shop and I just want to put bouquets of flowers together all day. Like that's it, you know? But ultimately, I have a purpose here and I have a vision and I have a mission and my human needs tending to right now.
Yeah.
So the humbling part of this is like pausing the mission or pausing the vision to tend to your human. And that's another part of my circumstances. I don't just have a regular career, a regular job. You know what I mean? And entrepreneurship, you have to keep going in order to make money.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing too. It's like, how much of a break can I actually take? I'm grateful that I've been able to have so much freedom in this season of my life. And I still have to make sure that I'm sustaining that. So there's so many different elements that come into play. And with all of these ideas swarming in my mind, shout out to the mushroom trip that I did a few weeks ago, because one of the biggest lessons that came through was like leaning on my family and leaning on my people, you know? And where there's a will, there's a motherfucking way.
Yeah.
And if you do have support of any kind, you can lean on your people to try to figure those things out. If for some reason I'm not able to get, I'm going to need like 40 treatments. And that's 40 hours.
That's what you think you're going to need.
Well, that's what they recommend. 40 to 80 is what they recommend. 40 is the minimum. And so my mind is like, well, if that's a longer period of time and it kind of dips into when Vakai's in school, then I can see if my family could take him to school.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? So these are the points in our world where we've got to get creative. We've got to get innovative. We've got to be willing to communicate with our tribe.
Yeah.
Whoever your tribe is. Maybe it's a best friend. Maybe it's relatives. Whoever. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe you need to say, hey, I know I've been in office a lot. I need to work from home.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And being solution oriented, because when you are in a circumstance where you realize I have to make a shift, I have to make a big change, I have to make a transition, you could get really overwhelmed with all of the choices that you need to make.
Yeah.
And how quickly you need to make them. And that's when people kind of freeze and they don't make any choices at all.
Yes. And in my mind, I'm such like a great planner and strategizer. So I'm like, I can like look at a calendar. Like you're telling me this and I'm like, oh, like you'll just go down to Tucson these days and da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like it feels more overwhelming and it will be overwhelming. I'm not trying to dismiss what you're about to move through.
Yeah.
But when you really just kind of zoom out and look at it, I know it's going to be simpler than your overwhelmed mind thinks in this moment.
You know what? You're so right when you say that. And you know where there's resistance. There's resistance showing up for me because it's going to change things in my world so much that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's going to change my routine that fulfills me.
Yeah.
And so the overwhelm, it comes from the resistance of not wanting to like change my lifestyle that I enjoy so much and sacrificing those types of things. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I've been going to my boxing and I go to my karaoke and I go to the gym these days out of the week, and then on these days I do this, and you know what I mean? It's going to mean like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to sacrifice spending quality time with friends and certain people on the weekends, because that might be when I have to go. Well, I'd have to do it during the week because of the clinic. But anyway, just in this humanhood.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I know. We'll figure
I'm not
it out.
concerned about that.
Okay, good.
Well, it's interesting because you're saying that. And when I was going through the head injury stuff, I just had a flashback when you're like, I have to change all this stuff. So I was like going to the gym 2 times a day. I was going to hot yoga in the morning and Orange Theory at night. I was so active, all of this stuff. I couldn't do any of that. And you know what I had to do? What? I was working out in my closet.
Why your closet?
Because it was dark in there and it felt safe. And my head was so in so much pain, and I was so dizzy, and I was so scared to go anywhere because I would get the spins at the gym and I would feel like I was going to pass out. But I didn't want to stop working out because it was the one thing that I love to do. And it actually makes me really happy. When I don't work out, I feel depressed.
Yeah.
When I work out, I feel great. And so I told myself, you will not give this up, Casey, so figure it out.
Yeah.
And I would work out in my closet watching a YouTube video off of my iPhone, Melissa Wood Health, her Pilates videos. And I would have to do it in the dark because the light was too triggering for me. And I would be in my closet. It was a big closet. And I would be doing my little exercise 15, 20 minutes every day in the closet. And then eventually I was able to go back to the gym and go do these things.
Yeah.
But talk about sacrifice and making it work. That's what I was doing for months.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard to give up the gym, especially because that was such a huge part of my identity. And it made me feel so great, and I loved it. And having to literally like humble myself and go work out in the dark in a closet, that was not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because right now I've been strength training for like 8 months now, and I've got so much progress. And I work with a trainer who really, really pushes me in building my strength. And so that feels like such an uncomfortable sacrifice to not have access to those types of weights if I'm going to be working out at home or wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like I made all this progress, and then
Literally right when I had that happen, I was running 5 miles a day. Like I hit that mark, the 5 miles in a certain amount of time. And then it was like no more running at all. And so I hear what you're saying, and it is really shitty.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks. But it's a couple of months.
Yeah.
It's a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then you'll be back.
Yeah.
You know, what I love about, not what I love, but what you're moving through, I see the end date being very soon.
Yeah.
You know, I know your mindset. I know like how capable you are and how you've healed yourself before from things.
Totally.
And I'm like, she's going to go down there. It's going to be great. 2 months back.
Yeah.
And it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thoughts that come up.
I know.
Right?
When you're in it. When you're in it.
I have to pack all my supplements. Like all of these little human things that we're so attached to.
Totally.
And the blessing that I got out of all of the shit show that I went through over the years was I was the person who had to control everything. Like could not miss a workout, could not miss my run, had to pack my supplements, had to do all this stuff. And I literally am like, fuck this. Now when I go on vacation, I go do my little exercise outside every day, but I leave my supplements at home. Like I don't need all that shit.
Right.
It's given me so much more freedom to not be so attached to these things.
Totally.
And so I do know that the control, I am very controlling, and I can feel it, especially when we're attached to these things. But you're going to cultivate a healthier relationship with all of these things and being okay, being more fluid when things have to shift.
I think the other thing too is just the work-life balance. That's another thing that is like really, really loud for me, because all the financial responsibility is my responsibility. You know what I mean? So it's like I can admit I have a really hard time staying in motion with work. And I mean, this sounds like a very human thing. I have such a hard time staying in motion with work when I'm focused on my physical health and well-being in a more serious type of way. You know what I mean? It takes away so much, because so much of my attention and just so much of my attention is going to that. So this would be a good challenge for me, actually, now that we're talking about it. It'll be a really, really good challenge for me to do my best to balance both of those worlds, and just taking a moment to speak to the single parents out there who do have a solo financial responsibility when you have to handle your business and like do what you got to do. Even when I was younger, you know, I did have an undesirable experience at my babysitter's when I was little, but I lived with that woman for a little while my dad worked full time and when he was going to school, you know, and that wasn't a choice that he wanted to make, to like not have his daughter at home with him like that, you know, but he had to make that sacrifice. And sometimes the sacrifice is the amount of time that you spend with your children, or sometimes the sacrifice is the lifestyle that you give your children. And that's what I feel like I would be sacrificing for a little while, because so much of what I do for work, it requires me to be here. You know, my attention, my clients and my events and the retreat and all of these different things, which obviously retreat's not till October, but it takes away from your finances, man. It does. That's the reality of it, especially for other people. Like when they work a 9 to 5 and they have to take time off of work, they're not making money during that time. And that's a huge reality that we face when we don't have the companionship or the partnership where there's like, okay, I'll carry the finances, or, you know, and I've had that at one point in my life where I was in a partnership and like there was able to be some sort of different financial support. So that's also another thing that I know a lot of people, that's a big sacrifice that people make. And that's when I go back to like leaning on the family. You know what I mean? Because even my dad, he was like, whatever your treatment is, like a lot of the treatments that I'm doing, they're not covered under insurance because they're more newer treatments, if you will. So my dad's like, I'll help you pay for that. And well, I'm not going to need to pay for this treatment, thank God. But I know that if for some reason I were to need financial support, I could lean on my family, you know, and that shit's humbling.
That's so humbling. That's something I have a really hard time.
Me too.
Asking people for help in that area. Especially my family. I never. No. That's just a no.
That's tough. And me, like, I cried about it in our last recording because I carry the weight of responsibility so much. I work so hard and I show up in my life the way that I show up so that I never have to burden my family with anything. Which is why the health stuff feels uncomfortable, because me prioritizing my health and my healing will put me in a space where my brain is like, well, you may have to burden your family a little bit, you know? And so that's uncomfortable, dude. It's so uncomfortable.
I remember when I was going through all my stuff, for me, the asking for help was like getting rides to doctor's appointments, because at that point my like anxiety had gotten so bad that even driving was scary. And so driving across town, like I literally was scared to do that. I'm like, who can give me a ride across town? I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is an everyday thing that you should be able to do, and you can't even drive yourself. I remember I was at Whole Foods one time. Dude, the anxiety and the panic attacks were so bad during this time in my life. I was in Whole Foods and the fucking store started spinning. And I like sat down on the floor and I called Brian and I was like, I need you to come get me. I'm so scared right now. And he was like, is everything okay? I'm like, I cannot, like, I'm scared. I'm on the floor right now.
Oh.
Like, that's how humbling it was to ask them, like, you can't even grocery shop, Casey, you know? And then having to have someone come pick you up from the grocery store, and when it's like something so hard to explain what you're moving through, it's like so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because that shit would happen all of the time. I'm like gonna cry because my reality was so different. I would call my sister, like, having panic attacks on the road. Like, I'm so scared right now. And she would, like, just help me breathe through it. I'm like, everything's spinning in front of me. Like, I didn't know what was happening. And I was so scared all of the time. And so I just know what you're going through.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so humbling. We all have those different, like, maybe to you that wouldn't be something to be ashamed of, but maybe something else is, or, you know, something else is causing that within you. But that, for me, when I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, there were so many moments where just had to ask for help, had to call and get picked up somewhere, had to ask for a ride, had to work out in the closet. When I even, like, thinking about that stuff, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Fucking ayahuasca, bro. So, Kate, if you didn't listen to the past episode, Casey had a really horrible concussion that she received from falling and passing out while being in a medicine journey.
Fuck you.
God damn.
And overcoming that, the self-blame of putting myself in that situation, dude, that was even harder than everything else. Like, you did this to yourself. You chose to go there. You chose to do this. Like, if you never would have done that, this never would have happened. That was a rough one to move through.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, when you were saying, like, some of these things for one person, it wouldn't feel that bad. But for another person, it could be, like, very shameful or embarrassing or whatever. And I think about the last time that I had to make an uncomfortable pivot, like a life-shifting pivot. One of the biggest ones really was when I had Vakai and was leaving his dad. And that's when I first became a single mom. And at that time, I was working in freaking Beverly Hills before I had him at this big fancy entertainment company. And then I come back to Arizona and I'm a fucking waitress at a goddamn sushi restaurant.
Sushi a go-go.
Bro, that was, and so as you were telling your story and I'm reflecting on, like, you know, the pivots that I've made and, like, the sacrifices that I've had to choose to make for it to be comfortable as it possibly can. It was during that time. During that time, I intentionally chose to be a server. Like, I could have went and got so many other different jobs, but that was the sacrifice that I made. I'm like, I need a job that is going to give me time flexibility. I can make good money fast. I can make my own schedule, all of that stuff, you know? And I remember my Nana, she lived in my hometown still. She would come drive all the way out here. My hometown's an hour away. She would drive all the way out here. I would call her in the beginning of the week and I would tell her what my work schedule was. And she would come and watch Vakai for me.
Really?
Dude. She loved it.
Yeah.
Dude. She'd be like, you just tell me when you need me and I'll be there on bells and whistles.
I love that. Those are the best people. The grandparents who are just so amazing.
The ones who are happy to help.
Yeah.
The ones who don't make you feel like a burden.
Right.
You know? And my Nana never made me feel like that. If anything, I would call her and I'd be like, hey, Nana, this thing came up. And I have to go do this. Can you watch Kai? And she's like, oh, me. One time she was like, oh, Mija, I'm supposed to go on this road trip to this place with her friends.
With Ophelia?
With Ophelia. No, not with Ophelia. With a different friend. No, but, and I was like, I'm like, Nana, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like, I'll figure it out. And I was going to figure it out, or I just wasn't going to be able to do the thing. She called me like an hour later. She's like, Mija. Canceled. She's like, I canceled my plans. I'll be there. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you didn't have to. She's like, no, don't. No. I'm going to be there. Don't you worry. You do your thing. I was just like, I know. I know. Gosh, I miss her so much. Shout out to the angels that show up in our lives like that. And if you're listening and you have one of those angels in your life, you know what they mean. Yeah. But I remember during that time, it was like all hands on deck, dude. Our schedule was crazy. Like, I would go to work at a certain time. I had to be to work at 3. Kai's dad didn't get off till 6. So my nana would drive to town just to watch him for a few hours until his dad got off. And then his dad would go pick him up. And then his dad would have him. And then once I got off of work, then I would go pick him up after that. It was like this whole thing. So now that I'm in this situation and I'm reflecting on that, I'm like, girl, if you could figure that out at the time that you figured that out, you could definitely figure this out. And I know I can, but this is the thing. The humbling thing, the most humbling thing is feeling like I have to pause my brand.
Yes.
Feeling like I have to pause my business. And not entirely, obviously, but feeling like I do have to, in some way, shape, or form, kind of put some of that on the back burner to be fully present for these drives and the treatments itself and all the things. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of resistance to that.
Yeah.
I really, really am. That's the hardest part. Just like psychologically, because I don't want to lose any type of momentum. And I sometimes I feel like momentum building can be an illusion. You know, if anything, I know my audience. I know you guys. I know my community. If I just bring you guys along for the ride and just be open and honest and transparent about what I'm prioritizing and why I'm prioritizing it, then it's like I never left, in a sense. But then I'm having resistance of even wanting to be open about what I'm moving through. And, you know, so that's another thing.
Yeah. I didn't tell anyone about the stuff that I was going through for years.
Yeah.
Because kind of going back to what we talked about in the sister episode, like when you start sharing it, people get curious.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have capacity to, because for me, I was also in my Joe Dispenza phase. And so I was like, okay, I'm acknowledging it, but I'm not identifying with it. So let's just be really mindful with how I move through this process.
Right.
And so I actually did not want to share at all about it. And for me, that felt like that's what was needed.
Yeah.
Whether that's what you feel like you need or not, only you know. But I was like, I don't want to just draw so much attention to this.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to move through it with the people closest to me, navigate it. And then when I can talk about it in a way that's productive, share lessons and talk about it then. But it was just too much for me. So yeah, that's something that you'll have to
I gotta feel into that, because I don't want to just disappear.
You're not gonna disappear. You're making this such a big deal. Like,
well,
okay,
because,
no, let me back up. This is a big deal. What you're moving through is a big deal.
Yeah.
But you temporary relocating for 4 to 6 weeks is not. Look at the grand scheme of the life.
But
it's not that much.
But that's how it feels.
That's how it feels. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to fly. Your 40, 50 treatments are going to be done. And it's going to be something in the past that's like, oh my gosh, that went so fast.
I know.
That went so fast. I know it because I've gone through things like that before. And I'm like, that was so fast.
Yeah. And I don't mean obviously disappear. I really just mean from like a business standpoint, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like I know myself, and sometimes it could be so easy for me to like kind of go ghost on my platform for a little while.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I just got to work through some shit. I just got to work through some things.
I go ghost all the time on my stuff. I'm like, I'll go weeks without posting, without doing anything. And it's like, no one cares. I know,
but I feel like our situations are different.
Yeah.
You have a different type of security that I don't have.
That's true.
Yeah. So it feels like a different type of pressure for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I had your husband, I'd be chilling. If I had your husband, if I had a Brian, bro, like shout out, he's amazing.
Everyone go get yourself a Brian. This is a shirt. I was like, I'm running out of clothes for humanhood. I'm tapping into your closet.
Yes. Okay. Like if I had a Brian, girl, I wouldn't be stressing. I would be in I'd be like, it would be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
All these things wouldn't be in my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't have a Brian right now.
Yeah.
And so it's so different.
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't feel peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
It feels scary.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yes. And even with a Brian, it can still feel
Scary, I'm sure.
because of the stories we tell ourselves or how it might shift our dynamic temporarily or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There were moments and are moments of that as well. And it's like, why you have like such a safe person to be doing this life with?
Totally.
And I'm sure there's people out there who are in relationships who are like, yeah, but still like having these conversations and like bringing this up and like, you know.
Because now they're in it with you.
And now they're in it and now they're concerned. And it's like the last thing I want to do is put something else on your mind because you're so busy and you're carrying so much. So let me just carry it all myself. And then he's like, where did this come from? And I'm like, I've been holding it all to like take pressure off of you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so there's like a different layer of
being in a marriage.
Yes.
When you're moving through that type of stuff.
Absolutely. Or like even he feels that way too, you know, with things about like work and stuff, like not wanting to tell me certain things because he doesn't want to trouble me or worry me about stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The way we try to protect each other. Everyone's trying to protect each other's stress levels and emotions and everything. And so that's like a whole dynamic.
That's why we try to carry and manage it all on our own.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Woo-saw!
Shake it off!
Woo-saw! Woo-saw for all the people who are in a transition, a pivot, a major reality shift. If you have choices to make, if you have something to restructure, like your life right now. You know, like, so the creators of the RGC conference, John and Brittany Hahn, when they got canceled in, I think it was maybe 2020 or something like that, it destroyed their business entirely. And at the time, they were like millionaires. Wow. And it destroyed their business so bad that they eventually had to move in with their in-laws. And for them, that was like a very humbling experience. And shout out to them for being really vulnerable and open and honest about that whole process. But sometimes those are the types of things, like you could sit there and be trying to stay above water with your own bills and your own finances and things like that. But it was actually the greatest thing for them to be able to go back to their family and humble themselves for a little while and go from the millionaire New York City lifestyle back to the in-laws in Florida. Yeah. You know? And I remember one of the things that they shared was like, especially that Brittany shared, was that she had never spent that much intimate time with her in-laws, that like they actually got really, really close. And they would have never established that type of relationship if they didn't have that season in their life, you know? So sometimes these things do create opportunities for other things, like even to deepen the relationship in our partnerships or with our friends, with our families, with our neighbors. You know? Like anytime there's an opportunity to lean in and lean on the people in our world. Because I remember before I got my new car, I was going through this, there was like a computer issue with my car and it kept not working. I'm like, what the heck? And then obviously I got a new one. But I remember there was like multiple times where I had to ask my neighbors for rides in the morning to get Vakai to school. And then that like bonded us, you know? And then now, like if she needs something, she comes and asks me. And there's like this tribe that's built. When we support each other through life's adversities, or we show up, you know, when these challenges arise and stuff like that. So it's like there's definitely beauty in it, but you gotta get out of your ego.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to ask for the support, ask the help, make the shift, make the sacrifice. I can admit I'm battling with my ego right now.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yes.
I'm very self-aware of that. And taking it even a step further of like, because I'm sure there's people out there listening, they're like, I don't have family. I don't have friends. Like, I was in conversation with somebody that I love dearly recently, and she doesn't really have a lot of people, you know? And I was telling her, I'm like, listen, there are government programs that will help you in your situation. You just like got to get resourceful and go online and look for it. Like, I know the last thing anybody wants to do is go knocking on daddy government's door, you know?
No, yeah.
But I'm like, listen, if you need to remove yourself from your situation, which was a dangerous situation, then maybe you need to look into government housing for a little while. Maybe you need to look into getting cash assistance, nutrition assistance, rental assistance. All of that stuff is out there. All of that stuff exists. But that's a deeper level of humbling yourself. And dropping the ego so that you can shift your situation. Because some situations, you can't play around with certain situations. You know what I mean? And like I was telling you, I'm like, I want to deal with my situation before it gets to something that's like out of hand. Right now, it's like, it's salvageable. It's okay. It's not, I mean, I've been in a lot of pain and stuff like that, but it's not like the worst that it could be. And I don't want it to get to a point like that because I'm sitting here in my ego. And I don't want to make these changes to my life or ask for help or pause my brand and business just for a little while. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that I'm sharing this with all of you guys, because do you see how human I am as I'm in this right now? I'm the mindset coach. I've been doing all these things for so long, and this shit's scary, dog. Like, it's scary. It's uncomfortable. There's so much resistance. My conscious mind knows what I need to do. It does, and it's already committed to doing it. But then the subconscious survival self is like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? So it's just like, there's so many levels and layers to it. And if you're in one of those situations, going back to what I said at the very beginning of this conversation, you really do have to analyze your circumstances wisely and see what your specific situation is. Get radically honest with yourself about what you truly, truly need. Because I even, in my situation with my health, I'm like, if it is as bad as it could be, what if I did have to go live with my dad for a little while because I needed to only prioritize my healing and that's it? I had to entertain that idea. That's the fucking last thing I want. I love my condo in Scottsdale. I don't want to go live in Mesa again. You know? I want to go live in my old high school bedroom. I love my condo. Are you kidding me? No.
I want to live in Mesa. Don't take me back.
I love living where I live. But like, that would be one of my options. And we have to analyze our options. And like we keep saying, a lot of them, they're just temporary. They're not forever. You know what I mean? So like you were saying, you're like, Melanie, it's only like 4-6 weeks. And, you know, which is so true. It is. It's only a little bit of time, but it's still uncomfortable. And we have to work through the layers of ourselves that block us from achieving the desired outcome. Ultimately.
It's so funny how the mind will start to create all this resistance, like even with things that aren't that serious. But you know, do you ever sign up for something and like the time gets closer and you don't really want to go? And you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And the brain like literally starts to play tricks on you and create so much fear and resistance. It's like the most insane thing what it'll do to like keep us safe and keep us comfortable and just keep us put in place. And then you go and it's like,
It's fine.
It's fine. That was actually a lot of fun.
That
That was
fine.
great. I feel amazing. You know, you're really happy about it. It's kind of like that. And that's how you know you have to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, yeah, no biggie. It's actually creating a little bit resistance in you. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Resistance isn't always bad.
Yeah,
It's just resistance and a challenge to move through.
totally. Woosah.
Yes.
Shout out to all of our friends out there, all of our humanhood family members who are in the thick of a purposeful pivot,
Yeah.
a humbling transition. We are with you. We are hugging you. And do you have any?
I guess my closing share would just be because it's talking about health. Yeah, don't let it get to a point where it starts to become unmanageable. And don't get so attached to creating a problem out of everything as well. You know,
Right.
we always talk about there's two types of people. So when I moved through my situation, I started to become really hyper vigilant. And I was like, this is a problem. This is a problem, because I was so scared that something could turn into something again.
Yeah.
And that's not a healthy place to live at either. But if you know deep down, like, I need to seek medical treatment, even if it is more of a Western approach, which you might not be open to, go see the person who's going to put your mind at ease. Because even though you're operating, you know, through life and you're still setting up here and doing everything, there's still a subconscious little fear, a little hum in the background. Whatever you need to do to stop the hum from humming, go do that. So if you need to go see a doctor, you do need to commit to a plan, you do need to do whatever. Your health, without it, you literally have nothing. And so I have such a soft spot for people moving through that, where I'm listening to your story and I'm like, it's easy. Yes, you'll
Yeah.
figure it out, because there's nothing more important
Right.
than your health.
Right.
So if anyone out there has been resisting going to some type of appointment or anything like that, consider like booking it.
Yeah.
Like, make the move to get it done so
Yeah.
you can lessen that hum that's happening.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll update y'all later.
See you in 6 weeks. Just
My
kidding.
plan is to do my best to move intentionally
Yeah.
and intelligently
Yes.
through this transition to make it as smooth and potent and as efficient as possible. And when I figure that plan out, I will let y'all
And
know.
convenient, so you can still go to boxing.
And convenience. Once I figure this out, I will let y'all know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm going to be all right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be fine.
You're going to be fine.
I'm going to be more than fine.
Yes.
It's gonna be okay. Thank you guys for listening. Power of the pivot, baby. Purposeful pivot.
Yeah.
Humble pivot. Even sometimes if it feels like it goes back to humble beginnings. Do what you got to do for yourself, man. Sometimes you got to cut out all the noise. You got to stop giving a fuck about what people think, what social media thinks, what it looks like on the outside. Handle your business. Do what you got to do, especially for the long term, for the bigger picture. Make your choices for the marathon, not just this tiny little sprint.
Yeah.
That's what's most important. So if you were listening and you received any gems from this, please leave us a review. Please share your feedback and definitely subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. We love you guys. Until next time.
Bye.